mentor and friend. And I was introduced to him through his Facebook page. Gosh, it must be coming up 4 years ago now, through another friend. And then I started sharing a bit of your information on my page. And my dear friend, Nikki, had a one-on-one session with you, and that was just over 3 years ago. And as a result of that one-on-one session with you, focusing on self-sabotage, the very next day she stopped alcohol. I was inspired by her journey, and 3 weeks later, I followed suit. And the two of us have been sober for 3 years, and it's been an incredible journey to share with her and have that support. So, thank you for the inspiration and the encouragement.
Well, thanks for having me on. I think they might have missed my name at the beginning because when you press record, I think it might have cut off
Oh,
your nice introduction. So my name is Jason Christoff, and I do the self-sabotage coaching, and I'm as shocked as anyone at how good the results can be sometimes. Even though I run a school now for self-sabotage coaches, we take about 200 students every year, and the results we get through the process that I developed for people came about because I was a exercise and health expert, certified. I worked with Paul Chek of the
mhm.
he runs the Chek Institute in Vista, California. And even though I was very good at health and making diets, and I could do scientific applied exercise programs, no one would actually follow through. Like, we
Mm,
would give them the tools, and so it was like a failure-based industry. I was feeling bad taking their money. I go home not satisfied. There's no way that my clients could have been satisfied because they were paying money and still involved in their smoking or their ice cream eating or their
mm,
wine drinking, and they would never, like, some of my clients, it would start with, well, I'm not going to give up my wine.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, why did you hire me?
Yeah.
And because wine, of course, elevates blood sugar and then puts us on a major blood sugar like roller coaster, so that it's
Yeah.
impossible to lose weight. And then I started investigating the psychology of basically the fear people have naturally of being different than the
Mhm.
crowd or being judged by their friends. And in our society, you won't get judged for being a lesser sort of person. You get a lot more attention that way if you're kind of downtrodden. You fall
Mm,
down, you hold your knee, you act like the victim, you're going to get a lot more attention. So basically, people really aren't afraid to be their worst, but they're certainly afraid to be their best. So that sort of psychology of what makes us strive to be mediocre and makes us afraid to be our best self,
mm,
I started investigating, like, what exactly is going on there. What's this invisible glass ceiling all my clients keep banging their head into? And why do they say they want to lose weight and keep eating ice cream? And they're depressed, but they won't remove what's making them depressed. So I investigated the psychology of it, the neuroscience, and almost like a hypnosis. And I started integrating, trying to hack the part of their brain that is in control of this mechanism. And then all of a sudden, I was literally psychologically, I was tricking them
mm,
to lose the weight and to exercise and to take their life seriously and to rise up to their full potential. And then I sort of backed away without the diet and without the exercise. And then they just kept going anyway. Even if they didn't start with exercise and diet with me, they just started galloping forward, doing the exercise themselves, eating properly
mm,
themselves, going to bed on time, opening that business they should have opened, spending more time with their mate, being happier, being like, just everything just opened up for them. So I said, you know what? I'm probably going to quit this particular aspect of my life because it's not working. But what
mm,
I did see, what was really working, was this psychology approach. And it worked for everything. If someone was having a hard time connecting to their
mm,
mate because their childhood was very traumatic, it worked for that. It worked for weight loss. It worked for making people richer, because I found out there was a part of the mind that if the person is conditioned to be afraid of being their best self, this sort of the part of the mind that's in control of that can inhibit there's a part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, and that's where all our great business ideas are. And that's where, like, if you want to be rich, you got to have this part of the brain active. And if we grew up in environments when we were children that made us sort of afraid to be wealthier because we came from sort of a poverty-stricken, stagnation, mediocre tribe, the subconscious, which is the part of the brain involved in self-sabotage, can actually shut down our prefrontal cortex so that we don't have any good ideas in business, that we're afraid to be wealthy, that we're not going to get that big flood of inspiration or passion. And by getting in and trying to soothe this part of the brain that's afraid to be our best, I was seeing all these fantastic results. And then I started taking on clients, and I have a huge waiting list. And I started opening a school to teach self-sabotage coaches how to coach under my process. And you'll, like, Meredith, I'm sure you've seen when you apply it, when people stop you, you're just like, you hope you get people stopping you and saying, oh yeah, I lost the weight, my marriage is improved, I've opened that business, we're doing fantastic. And then you say, oh, I always knew. But there's a part of you that turns around and says, oh, does that ever work really good?
Yeah.
So it's great to see.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, that are watching, I did Jason Christoff's very first intake of the Christoff Certified Self-Sabotage Coach program. And so now I'm certified and I'm taking my own clients. So
and how's it going with your clients?
Oh, it's been actually amazing. I know I'm right where I want to be and need to be and have always, dreamed of being. It's something that I'm really passionate about. And I think the biggest thing is that drawing from my own traumatic experiences throughout my life has been my greatest teacher and my greatest gift to share with others. Being, I think, relatable, been there, done that, nothing shocks me or surprises me. And I think having that way about you puts people at ease so that they can actually open up and be vulnerable. And then it's when lots of healing occurs, as you know.
Yeah, and how much you said you lost? I know it's in stone down there, and I'm starting to get used to it.
No, it's kilos.
Is it kilos? Okay,
Yeah,
so how many kilos did you lose?
So after I stopped drinking and I changed everything that I was eating, cutting out sugar and all the rest of that, it was the first 10 kilos in 3 months. And then I've progressively lost the next 10 kilos over the next while. And now I'm sort of at a plateau. Yeah.
So how many kilos in total?
20 kilos.
So that's 44 pounds, right, for the North American audience?
Yeah.
Yeah, 44 pounds and it's a massive amount of weight, and it's all part of it, right? I mean, and so you worked on yourself, and that's how powerful the coaching is that you do, is you sort of absorbed just the fragments of it from your friend that had a one-on-one with me, and it still washed over you to lose the 44 pounds. You took full control of your life, and that's how self-sabotage coaching works. And then you started your business, you started getting clients, you started financially paying attention to your own plate.
Absolutely.
And that's what this kind of coaching is. It'll take you down a road where once you remove the fear of being your best, it's just natural to grow all your poppies tall in the garden, whether it's financial or relationship, or even when you go to bed, or how you cook, or what kind of food quality you'll tolerate. It all comes flooding in as you realize you deserve it. You deserve an abundant lifestyle. You deserve the best in life. So I'm really, if anybody's out there, Meredith is, a superior coach to the point where, where one day we hope her to have her at the school working directly with students. So that's an attribute, like this amazing coaching style you have. You make people feel very comfortable. So if anybody's out there and, wants to overcome their self-sabotage, and it can be anything, I think Meredith would be good. And because of the Skype or Zoom, you can do it
Yeah.
anywhere in the world. So, make sure,
Yeah.
Meredith, you'll tell people where they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, I will certainly do that. Yeah, so as part of advertising that I was going to be interviewing you, I asked for some questions from the community. So they're all self-sabotage related, but I thought, so perhaps if we actually just touch on what self-sabotage is. So in our experience, a good way to sum it up, I think, is any repetitive behavior that continually yields negative results. So would that be an accurate description?
Well, yeah, it's definitely accurate. I tell people, number one, it's not a malfunction. If you're
Yeah,
self-sabotaging, you're working as designed.
that's right.
The premise or foundation of self-sabotage is just basically you get your cues from the environment. So if you live in a negative environment, you will get negative behavior. So it's not a malfunction, but if we know how it works, we can hack it to our advantage.
Yeah, so the subconscious is predominantly there for safety above all else. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, guaranteed. The part of the brain that's involved in the self-sabotage, that's uh, the average person who smokes, although they know it makes their teeth yellow and makes them age and costs them money, they keep doing it. So it's that illogical part, but the subconscious, the reason the person smokes is probably because their parents were self-abusive. They probably smoked or drank coffee or they drank alcohol. So the subconscious sees that and then determines that it's safer to be one of them than to be an outsider. So even though that person left their house, goes to their own house when they're 30, they still smoke because the old program of fitting in with the old tribe through the smoking or through the self-abuse is still running in their subconscious. So it is the subconscious mind that's involved in any repetitive behavior that makes us die early, makes us gain weight, makes us financially, puts us in a hole financially, but we can't stop it. And it's because the subconscious is very powerful at controlling our behavior.
And is it right in saying that the conscious and the subconscious don't communicate?
Yeah, they're actually, that's part of the design.
Yeah.
The subconscious has a job of protecting you in terms of making you fit in. And it'll make you fit in with anything. Like if you're in a bigger tribe, if all your parents are 200 and 300 pounds, it'll make sure you're 200 or 300 pounds. And it's very hard to break that once that's in play. But we do it as coaches. We can help you break it and help you move past it. But part of the design of that fit in system is for the conscious mind, the part that thinks it's really smart in deciding its own behavior. People say I'm leading my own ship here and I make my own decisions. That's part of the illusion of how the other side works.
Yeah.
The whole inherent design is the subconscious has a secret. It's the one that controls your behavior. Part of the functioning and the design of that part of the brain is making sure you think you're making the decisions so that it doesn't interfere with the protection of you. Because if you started interfering with this safety system, you could really royally screw it up. And then if it's a safety system and you put some sticks into the gears, it means you might not survive.
Yeah.
And that's why it has that design to it.
Yeah, I feel like it's like the subconscious pushback. It goes, oh, hang on a minute, what's happening here? You're doing something different. I don't like it.
Yeah, and it'll always kind of keep the same. It likes familiar. It likes to keep the same routine. It loves routine, and it loves copying what everybody else is doing. And that's great if you live in a society where everybody's thin and healthy and wealthy. But in our society, especially given that the subconscious can't tell the difference between the real family or the TV family, or even your thoughts where, the TV's off and no one's around and you're still rocking in the corner saying, maybe I shouldn't have said that. oh, I'm such a bad person. I didn't mean to call Karen that name, and you're rocking. That has an impact as well on
Yeah.
your subconscious. So basically, yeah, if you live in our society today with all the negative sort of imagery that's coming at you in
Mm.
real life or through the screen, the way the subconscious mind works, it'll mimic anything and it doesn't matter what it is. So today, most people are mimicking Dirty Grandpa, the movie, Bad
Yeah.
Moms, the movie, Shameless, the HBO series, Game of Thrones, and then we get into some real problems with our behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. The screen is so influential, and I don't think people realize just how influential it is. And, what I've been telling my clients recently is, you know, just better images, better sounds all around you is going to have a positive effect just by switching off your TV.
Yeah, and this kind of technology can be used for good. There were cultures in the past that would agree at the governmental level that there would be no negative imagery, no death imagery,
Mm-hmm.
no sort of violence or chaos or conflict, because they were aware at the governmental level that it would really either you could help the people rise up by
Mm.
giving them positive stuff, or you could really put them into a downtrodden state by doing the
Subdued.
opposite.
Mm.
And sometimes different governments throughout history would fight what was the best thing to do with the public, given that this technology isn't known by a lot of people, that our
Mm.
environment controls our behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the more negative imagery that we take in, it just perpetuates more of the same inside us. Like it's just fear based. And then obviously we know is when you're in fear, you're much easier to be influenced by more of the negative, more of the same.
Yeah, and the fear part of it, I mean, if yeah, you're going to be afraid when you watch Game of Thrones, but you're not really aware of, how that chemical effect
Mm.
programs, because the subconscious mind loves repetition and it really wants to repeat what's already repeated in the society. And so
Mm.
it even the subconscious, when you're watching Games of Thrones, uh, or Shameless or one of these sort of Netflix
Mm-hmm.
violence or even Avengers Affinity War, it can start mimicking the fear. Like you'll turn off the TV and then you'll go like manufacture your own fear with your mate because you
Mm.
started a fight and you won't know that it's the subconscious starting the fight on purpose because it's mimicking the fear from the
Yeah.
show. You're
Yeah.
actually taking the fear from the show and putting it into your own home environment, and you don't know the subconscious does that by design. It
Yeah.
mimics things, emotions, symbols, patterns, habits, ceremonies, rituals. What it
Mm.
sees repetitively out through the eyes, it will definitely make physical in your
Yeah.
own life, which can be dangerous if you're watching negative stuff all the time.
Definitely. Definitely. Okay, I'm gonna launch into one of these questions.
Sure. I know we
Okay.
probably already got time for 2 questions or
Yeah,
three.
it's okay. We can always do another interview another day. It's all
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
Okay, so do you think that unhelpful buried thinking that sits in our subconscious mind, which we are consciously unaware of, can impact our health in a negative way?
Oh, I mean that's a guarantee. The subconscious wants to, again, its main job is to protect you by making you fit in, and it reacts to images as much as it reacts to your own repetitive thoughts.
Mm.
So if you're saying I'm not good enough, I'm a bad person, I'll never lose weight, you can the subconscious can control your blood and your brain. And
Mm.
there's something called phantom pregnancy. You can look it up. It's called false pregnancy or phantom pregnancy. And this is a good example of how repetitive thoughts can change your metabolism. So
Mm.
it's a female who thinks she's pregnant, but she's not. But the repetition is heard in the subconscious mind because the lady keeps saying, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant. She starts expressing breast milk. She gets distended in the abdomen. She gains 10 to 20 pounds, most of it water or cellulite. They've even, females have gone into the doctor's office. They found the amniotic sac, no fetus. This is how powerful the subconscious mind is. If it hears anything repetitive, it steps up to do what it can do, which is full control of the body. At that point, it thinks it lives in a pregnant tribe, and the best way to fit in is to be pregnant or at least act like you're pregnant. This is how
Wow.
bizarre this part of the brain is. So if you're saying, I'll never lose weight, or, I just look at cake and I gain weight. We've heard people say
Yeah,
that.
a lot. Yeah.
And the subconscious is like this stunned bodyguard that just literally responds to repetitiveness, whether it's in the real environment or inside your own mental environment. So if you say you're going to gain weight just by looking at the cake, the subconscious says, aye, aye, ma'am, no problem. I got it. Don't worry. I'll follow through for you. But you really don't. That's why your inner dialogue inside my coaching program is, specifically addressed as one of the environments you need to control. You got to control what you see, what you eat. You got to control, what you say to yourself as well, because it has this huge impact on your metabolism, because the subconscious mind can completely control your metabolism. If it thinks you live in a bigger tribe, like if you say you can't lose weight, it won't let you lose the weight, because it assumes if you're thin, it would be a dangerous role to play in a bigger tribe. And it would be right, because the way the human brain is designed, humans only like people like them. And that's how this part of the brain works, is always trying to make you fit in.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that. When I started losing weight as a byproduct of stopping drinking, it wasn't actually the ultimate goal, but it was just a natural, byproduct of that. When I started losing, 10, 15 kilos, I had people around me saying, oh, you don't want to lose too much more. It was like that, feeling uncomfortable because I was coming into my best self, and that was a bit intimidating, or, and they looked at themselves, and perhaps there was a bit of, I don't
Yeah,
know,
they
just,
have the same subconscious mind as you, and sometimes they're actually trying to protect you, because it's an ancient part of the mind that is not only protective of self, it's protective of anybody in the tribe. So they're saying, hey, Meredith, don't you know it's safer over here in the bigger tribe, in the drinking tribe? There's more drinkers and there's more people sort of out of shape. Wouldn't you like to come back? Like, are you sure you want to go outside the castle walls? Because I heard outside the castle walls are demons and goblins and vampires. So maybe come back with us.
yeah.
And this is how this part of the brain works. So they're not actually trying to bring you down in the sense that they're jealous. They're trying to bring you back into the herd, because herd strength is based on numbers. And if you leave, they're one man down. So it's a very natural self-preservation mechanism to try and bring you back into the fold.
Yeah. I found for myself, stopping the sedation, I was actually totally okay with being alone. I didn't have a problem, and I still don't. I don't have any problem spending time alone and by myself. Of course, I like to connect with other people, other humans, because that's what we innately love to do, and that helps with our growth and the rest of it. But yeah, I'm good with my own company, and that only came from stopping drinking alcohol, drinking coffee, shitty food. Yeah, so I'm an adult. I'm a big kid now.
Yeah, and and that's why, of course, inside the coaching protocol that you do with your clients as well for self-sabotage, we do address anything that pollutes the body, because, as you'll explain to your clients, we don't have time to explain it now, but poisoning the body makes us very clingy to the
Yeah,
old tribe. We become very
definitely.
afraid, just simply because poisoning ourselves, the body gets afraid, because when we threaten our own lifespan, we have a fear response. And then when we're afraid, we're not confident being alone. Like when I'm a kid, when I was a kid, if I was scared, I wanted my mom, I wanted my dad, I wanted my brother, I wanted my sister. The more people that were around me, the safer I felt. So
Hmm.
fear makes us more like we're going to hug the tribe when sometimes in life we have to leave the tribe.
Yeah,
And so
that's exactly it.
that's what has to be done sometimes to build their best life, have a great house, have a great life, have a great relationship, have an
Mm.
abundant bank account. We are going to have to leave the tribe because 92% of the people on this planet struggle. And
Hmm.
so eventually, if we want to be in the 8%, we have to be brave enough to leave the group of 92 and go toward the group of 8, even though the group of 8, it might be just you walking the trail on
Hmm.
your own
Yep.
for miles. So it takes a lot of adult-based conditioning to leave the group, be alone, deal with the fear, still go, put your backpack on, got your little mining pick, and away you go up the
Hmm.
mountain to find the group of 8 that live with abundance and live with passion and live with all their dreams, their best relationships. Their bank accounts are always overflowing. They don't worry about money. They eat the proper foods and they don't poison themselves because when you're an adult, you just wouldn't shoot yourself in the foot like that because you feel it so much. It's like there's no sense in doing it. And that's
Mm.
what we do. And that's what you do. And that's what you do so well inside this coaching protocol. So it's
Yeah.
a great thing to give people the big picture about what's going on inside their own brain.
Yeah. Yeah. And how heavily influenced we are by our outside environment as well. And I think that's just, yeah, demystifying it and sort of unpacking it. People go, you see that moment in a coaching session where people have that realization, their shoulders drop, they sit and they relax and they go, oh, I get it. I get it. And in that moment, they just look and feel so free. So that's incredible because that's what I've experienced. And yeah, it's getting over that fear and just going, okay, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm choosing better. And the moment you make that decision, everything changes around you. Not only that for yourself, but like we've talked about before, there's this catalyst for healing in other people all around you that you don't even know. Like it's just like this ripple effect. So yeah, change yourself, change others around you. It's an incredible effect.
Yeah, and I can't believe it. Some of the seminars I go to, I can't believe what people are saying about the stuff I put out or
Yeah.
some of the tidbits. People are taking pictures with me and I'm getting my autograph and I'm just like I'm like I'll sign it and take the picture and then when
It's
they
like,
leave
what's going
I'm like
on?
what's going on with this stuff? That's so funny. It's that funny for me as the inventor. So
Yeah.
it's obviously pretty dramatic for the people that experience it as well. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Should we fire off one more question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Can self-sabotage be overcome with purely corrective subconscious thoughts, or is subconscious reprogramming always required?
You're gonna always have to you can consciously interfere with your thoughts. It's a good way to do it. I mean, consciously, if you know how the whole self-sabotage cycle works, where your friends attack you, you attack yourself, you're just generally afraid to be different. If you know how the whole cycle works consciously, you can sort of grab that grizzly bear and give it a little wrestle here and there in your life. But it's the subconscious that has the most power. And
Mm,
the only way to sort of hack the subconscious is decorating your living environment with repetitive themes that are congruent with your goals, but you
mm,
also have to do theta state hypnotherapy, which is basically getting the subconscious to sit on a couch, basically relaxed and said, tell me what you want me to do,
yeah.
because that's what hypnosis is about. Like if you go to a Las Vegas show, when someone's in a hypnosis show, they're going to do all kinds of weird stuff, act like a chicken and bark like a
Mm,
dog. because there is a gateway. You can get into the subconscious and you can tell it what to do, and it'll do it right away. And the best way to do that is this general hypnosis where you're still in control, but you're relaxed. The conscious mind that always runs into the future. Did I get the right groceries? What time's the grocery store
Yeah.
close? That part gets shut down, and then you just have the subconscious just sitting there, in its bathrobe saying, okay, tell me what to do. And hypnosis is about just basically, the hypnosis part is to get you into a brain state or a brain wave state called theta, where the subconscious will be like, yeah, just if you want to be rich, I'll make you rich. If you want to be thin, I'll make you thin. What do you want to do? And so you put in the messages as you're in this relaxed state. And yes, you have to do both. You have to consciously know how this process goes down, interfere with it, but you also have to get relaxed and drive the good imagery and the language and the good time emotions, which is what the fluffy language does in hypnosis, into the subconscious so that it just performs like the bodyguard that it really is. It's a non-thinking, reactive part of the brain. If you know how to use the code, it has a special code and it has a special language. You cannot strong arm it. You cannot bully it. If you want to lose weight and it doesn't feel safe doing it, you're not going to lose weight. But you can talk to it in a special code and you can talk to it in a special language that us as self-sabotage coaches know, and it will react because that's its only function. But you have to know how to talk to it.
Yeah. Great. So you have an event coming up, an online event. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, it's an online event for, some of I get a lot of requests for people wanting to come in and do the self-sabotage, and I have a full schedule. So I have this event coming up in October. If anybody ever wants any information on it, they could just email me at jason@freedomfromselfsabotage.com. But I use that because I'm full. I always suggest, if someone wants to do or invest in this, to get a coach as the top level. The top level investment with the best results is one-on-one with a coach, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Well, I think we've come to the end of our time. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you're so busy to talk to me in little old New Zealand. And I hope that our people that are listening and watching have taken away something today that's helpful for them. And perhaps we can talk again in the future and do another Q&A with you if you would like to.
Yeah, so everybody just strive to be their best. And if you're addicted or stuck, don't worry, you're not broken. We're just going to have to, teach you how to hack your mind, and you'll be right on your way. So thanks for having me, Meredith.
Oh, you're so welcome. And we'll talk again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks.